It's the SawCast, and I go by the name of Stevo.
And I'm Aerial, and this is the Minicast.
Teacher's edition.
This Teacher's Edition. We got two teachers, really good teachers. You know what I'm saying? We all went to school together. We all graduated from IU, and they're two black women. And, well, Jenny, you're Hispanic and black, but I'll let them introduce themselves. So go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
Hi, my name is Naya. I have been a teacher for about three and a half years now, and I currently work for IPS.
Okay.
And I'm Jenny, and this is my 8th year teaching. I started off at a couple of charter schools. I spent about 3 years in Lawrence Township, and I am now in alternative education for IPS.
Okay, Jenny. Wait a minute. Is that so? What is ESL? Because I know you said something about that.
Yeah,
What is
so
that?
right now I am an English as a second language, or really it's English as a new language teacher, and basically we focus on just working on their English skills. We have newcomers to the country. We have kids who have been in the program for a long time. We even have kids that are marked ESL because they speak 2 different languages at home.
Mm-hmm.
So we automatically flag students for that, just to rule out that possibility. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been into these
Okay,
days.
that's nice. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it with the questions. So my first question for both of you guys is like, why did you guys become teachers? Like when you guys were in school, we all were in school, we all had to pick our, you know what I'm saying, our majors. Why did you guys pick teaching?
For me, it was a personal decision. It was really based on my family background. I've been pretty privileged. You know, I got to go to college. I was the first person in my family to go to college, actually. But my parents, you know, they struggle with their education. My mom, actually, she dropped out. She had to go back and get her GED, and I got to see her really beat herself up a lot over the years. Just like, man, like I wish I wouldn't have dropped out of college. Like that shows up now as me having a GED and not a high school diploma.
Mm-hmm.
I have cousins now in New York City. It's not a good public education system out there. They, unfortunately, none of them graduated from high school. I see how challenging their life is. You know, being in an urban environment, terrible environment. They're surrounded by all kinds of things. So I knew that that's not what I wanted for me.
Okay.
And so I wanted to kind of, I guess, really stress the importance of education on these kids. And that's pretty much it. You know, that's why I went into it.
Yeah.
What about you, Naya?
So for me, I actually went a different route. I don't feel like teaching kind of like chose me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go to college for teaching. I actually went for criminal justice and psychology, and then in between trying to find a job in my actual field, I became a behavior specialist at a school. And I kind of fell in love with education there.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to my principal, and my principal thought I would be really good at teaching. So I got enrolled into a transition and teaching program, and I got an emergency permit to begin teaching, and that's kind of how I started. So I just was in the school and felt like most of those babies like needed a teacher who really cared and knew the importance of education, has been through the system of education, and can help them like navigate through it. So that's how I ended up there.
That's awesome. Okay.
Right, that was cool.
All right, so I think we got 2 nice teachers here, y'all. You know what I'm saying? All right, so what's the hardest thing about teaching for you guys? Like, what is the hardest thing that you go through? I'm sure you go through a lot of hard things.
And
Get that out the way.
I'm like,
if it's a lot, just say, okay, if it's like not one particular thing, you could say what's the top 3 or something like
Yeah,
that.
because we're going to go into, you know, like, you know, the parents and, you know,
yeah, because I was about to say that's my number one.
Okay, that's for me too.
Yeah,
Number one,
mine
parents.
is the family engagement and the lack of family engagement and the parents. It's the
Yeah.
hardest part.
Wow.
Because that is their first role models. That's who they're going to look to. And if they don't understand the importance of education, it really doesn't matter what I do or say sometimes.
Correct.
Wow.
I agree with
And
that.
so that's the hardest part about
Yeah,
teaching.
because you need some backup.
Huh?
Yeah.
You need some backup
Yeah,
from them.
I need y'all to be on the same page as me. Like, it's not a daycare, it's a school. And so that's the hard part is getting parents to
yeah.
It's
understand
not
that.
daycare, it's a school.
I don't know.
Parents.
I'm
I heard
gonna go in the other direction real quick because I think so. Me being in this ESL role, like I've gotten to see like just the cultural differences. I am a Hispanic woman and I understand the culture very well. I just think, coming from that perspective, for a lot of our families, they trust the teachers, they trust the school system. Like a lot of them don't have an education, so they put a lot of trust in us as educators and the school staff to educate their children. They don't know how it works. They may be new to the country, and so they see you as, an authority figure to be respected. They trust you with their children. Whatever you feel like, is the route to go for them and providing them with support, to hopefully in the future be successful, whether that's getting a full-time job or going to college, whatever they decide. They put their 100% trust in the school. And so for them, it's not like, oh, well, I'm it's not like they're not involved in their education. It's just kind of like that's their role. Like that's your role as a teacher. So they give that to you 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like my
know?
ESL families are the same. Yeah. Like I get most trust from ESL families. So I agree.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They really do respect you. Yeah.
I agree.
What you didn't tell us what's the hardest part though?
I mean, yes, I agree with what she said. Parents is number one. Parents that are just completely uncooperative. The second thing would be just time management. A lot of teachers I speak to, they just, along the way, they get lost and they forget to take care of themselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, take care of their families, spend time with their families. So it really turns into this time management thing that, I'm going to be honest, like just kind of depending on where you are in the school year, you're either doing really good at it or you're not. Right. Generally, at the end of the semester, I feel like all teachers are burnt out by that point. They're ready for their break. We need those breaks.
Yes.
We work, what, 180 days a year, but like it's necessary. So quite frankly, I'm tired of people talking about, well, you only work blah, 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 X amount of months throughout the year. So, like, y'all should just get what you get paid. And no, like, you got to understand that we're putting in basically a whole year's work in half the year. So don't get it twisted. Like, it's not like, oh, we're just taking half the year off, because that's definitely not what's going on.
You did went right on to the next question, which was, do you think teachers get paid enough for the job that they do? Like, do you guys, like, everything that you guys do you think you get paid enough, considering the fact that you guys only work half of the year?
And I would say,
you still don't think you get paid enough.
If you don't think you get paid enough, I add on to that. So what do you think teachers should get paid?
So I'm going to say, I don't think we get paid the amount that we should for the work that we put in.
Right.
So number one, I have never worked a 40-hour work week since I have been a teacher.
Wow.
Ever. Never, ever, ever. My job comes home with me almost every single day. And if it does not come home with me, I sit at home and feel guilty for not doing work that I should be doing. And so it's not like I go to work, I get off at 4, I'm good. Like, see y'all kids tomorrow. Like, I'm literally doing work every day at home. So if we took out the salary and made it hourly, my rate would automatically already be higher. I would already be getting paid higher.
Exactly.
So that's the first reason I would say. The second reason I would say is because of the system, the way that education is today. I do not feel like I'm only a teacher. I feel like I'm a teacher. I feel like I'm a counselor. I feel like I'm a social worker. I'm a nurse. I feel like I have to do so much. I manage behaviors more than I teach sometimes. And so because I have so many roles, because of how they set the education system up right now, I don't think that we get paid enough.
What do you mean how they set the education system
So
up?
we don't have enough resources. We don't have support. We don't really have all of the things that we need. And so because we don't have everything that we need, number one, some of us are paying for things out of pocket. Most of us are. 90% of us are.
All the time.
And it's not, and if you're a caring teacher, if you're a good teacher, it's not just supplies.
Yeah,
like,
teachers go out the way be making shit.
We do a lot of stuff. Like 2 weeks ago, I'm dropping groceries off to kids because they're writing in morning posts that what's your 2 hopes? One of their hopes is just to be able to eat. So as a teacher, how do I read that and not go to Walmart, get groceries, and drop it off for you and your family? So I feel like we do. So I'm a social worker. Like I do so much. So I do not feel like we.
And
get
you have a
paid
degree
enough.
in that too, so you probably naturally just want to do that.
I just feel like I have to. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I can't read that as your teacher and not do anything.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But the only other
exactly.
option is to do what? Call CPS? Like I'm not gonna do that either.
Right,
because you're breaking up black families. We know how that is
families
too.
apart. So I just do what I can instead of doing that. So I mean, long answer short, no, we don't get paid enough.
Yeah.
Now the hard part is coming up with an amount. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
like, I think you did come up with an amount when you said if they did it hourly.
Yeah, just
then
do
I
it hourly.
would be
Let me tag my hours, and you pay me for that.
I 100% agree with that.
Okay.
I mean, on average, I feel like I'm putting in 50, 60 hours at least minimum. Not with this new position though, because I'm not really a teacher of record, and so I'm catching a little break right now, which is nice, And then COVID happened, and all that mess. But I would say definitely 50 to 60 hours a week. That's definitely what teachers are putting in minimum.
And then like I feel like you guys, it's a lot of emotional, baggage that come with what you guys do as well, because you're working with people in their lives, trying to,
Exactly.
elevate their lives. I feel like me and Steven are in IT, so you know what I'm saying. Like, I mean, they do call us after hours, but it's not emotional. It's all business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're
It's all logic.
We're just problem solving based on
Yeah.
some issue that they have or
It's
something
the
technical.
faster we can problem solve, the faster it's done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But y'all is like, this is going. When
ongoing.
somebody don't eat, if you know somebody's not eating, that's an ongoing problem that you're probably gonna.
Because now it's like, how do I fix it now?
It's like a systemic. It roots to so many different issues, and it's just, I mean, it breaks your heart. Resources definitely key. I didn't start off in IPS like she did, but being in Lawrence Township, I got to really feel like what it felt like to have resources. At one point in time, for a few years, I had parents Amazoning boxes of stuff to me: Kleenexes, hand sanitizer, markers, everything.
That's a good thing to acknowledge.
When Christmas rolled around,
The
boy,
differences between
I
the
had.
townships.
It's a big difference.
I had amazing gifts. Y'all, I got hundreds of dollars in gift cards that year. I was like, woo! But when you're working with a more affluent school district, there's a catch to it. It's like they're trying to buy you. So it gets political. It turns into, well, I got you this for Christmas, and I got you all these resources for your classroom, because I want my kid to have the best of everything. So what are you going to do for me? When grades roll around, it's like, I better see that A on the report card. If not, we have problems. So it's a different twist.
That happens with affluent people, because we know we saw that story where that lady was like paying for her kid to go to college and she got caught. But she's not the first one. She's not the last one. So
Right.
They do it.
And they're gonna continue doing it.
So let's talk about that then. Like, what do you guys think is the differences? Like, I guess the resources between the township and a public school system. Like, it definitely would be probably the resources then.
Yeah.
Like, is the benefits different? Is
I would say so. Like, they definitely put a lot more emphasis on just training. They make sure we do our jobs well. It's basically everything is set up to ensure that the families are happy, because I don't like to think of it this way, but kids are dollar signs. We want to do what we can to keep the kids at that school, because that means an X amount of dollars extra is coming to the township, to that school. And so we have to do pretty much whatever it takes to make sure that parents are happy.
I think that's a real big reason why they wanted to keep the schools open and not necessarily close them because of COVID.
Yeah.
Because if kids are doing e-learning, you're not getting any money because they're not in a school.
Exactly.
They're not in the So I think that's definitely a big thing.
Exactly.
So how do you guys feel about that? Like, when you guys had to hear, like, you guys were going back because of COVID, like, how did you guys feel about that?
That we were going back, or that we were not going?
So did you feel like you should go back? You guys should go back, or did you feel like?
Right.
I know, because I was like,
y'all miss class?
I was so torn.
Yeah.
I was so in the middle. I know that my kids need to be in school. They are not learning anything right now. Their virtual learning is a joke. It's a joke. They're not learning anything right now. Their environments are too chaotic for them to learn right now.
Yeah.
And it's just hard. Like, it's hard for me to sit in front of a computer every day from 8 to 3:30. So I know it's hard for these little kids. Because I'll be ready to turn my camera off and take a break. Yeah.
For real.
And so I just know how they are. And so because of that, I was ready to go back. But then the other side is they are kids. They are not about to social distance. They are not about to keep masks on. They're not. Nope. They're going to do what they want to do. They're used to school. I teach 6th grade, so my kids have been in school. They're used to school being a certain way. For us to, like, bring them back after 6, 7, however many months and then say, okay, this is how it's going to be now, they're going to be like, no, it's not. We about to do it exactly how we've been doing it, and that's what we're going to do. Exactly. And so because of that, it's like, you kind of don't want to go back, but I don't know. So I'm in the middle.
Are y'all going back?
We go back October 19th.
Okay. Cool.
K through 3 has already went back.
Yep.
Wow.
So, and then 4 through 6.
They put the little kids in there
They put the little kids in there first. They said, we're going to
Jesus.
test out with y'all.
We're going to test it with the babies first.
We're going to sacrifice them.
Y'all are sick.
The babies go back first.
But they get the most funding, though, so it's understandable.
True.
All right, go ahead. And what you feel like?
Man.
How did you feel about that?
I don't know. I just
Because I know we had discussions about e-learning for you. You was not with it.
No, I'm not. You know, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Like, this is my 8th year teaching. I tried at least 2 or 3 times to quit teaching, and you know what I mean. When this position rolled around, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it another go. And so after being in education for so long, really over a decade, I've been working in schools. I just kind of feel like, you know what, I'm exhausted. Like, I am not a babysitter. I'm not a mother. I don't have kids at home. And I think I've gotten to the point where I'm exhausted and I'm tired of these families thinking I'm mom. Yeah. You know, on the flip side, of course, I love my kids. I love my students and I get to see them grow and go through these different experiences. But it's just like, y'all don't come home with me. I don't have kids in my house. So it's like, it's just a hard boundary for me now. So when it comes to going back to school, I was like, no, I don't want to be put in danger's way. I mean, yes, I care about the kids, guys, but like, what about me? What about my family? What about, these are all of the things that I sacrificed my beginning years of teaching. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of sleep. I lost, I went through health issues. I went through a lot of different things, experiences, like you name it. I mean, we could get into everything, discrimination, burnout. I mean, everything that plagues teachers today, I done been through it. So it's just like, okay, so we're in the midst of a pandemic. Like, no, I don't want to go back. Absolutely not, because all I hear are parents screaming, I got to go to work, and where am I going to put my kids? It's like, okay, so that's your argument? So then you're right there. You're giving me confirmation that what you think we are babysitters.
Yeah, it's a daycare.
I mean, that's going into the next question. How you going into them, okay?
Right.
Woo.
She's
so
transitioning
how involved do you guys think the parents are? Like,
oh my goodness, this year since e-learning, this is the most involved I have ever seen my parents. Like, I have never talked to so many parents in my life.
Yep.
Like, last year, the year before, I'm calling y'all, and I haven't talked to y'all. It's the last day of school.
Yeah.
And this year, I've talked to you about 7, 8, 9, 10 times.
Yep.
And it's crazy because they're sitting at home with their kids now, and so now they want to reach out to us every day because they need help.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with their kids. They realizing that the teacher last year and the year before wasn't lying. And so now they want you to assist more. Yeah. Like, that's
your son bad.
And they didn't believe it. They didn't believe it. We've had parents that told the teacher they thought they was lying. And now they know they're not lying.
That is hilarious.
It's crazy.
That's
Parents
hilarious.
are not, in the district that I am in, let me not say district, the school that I am in, they are not as involved as they should be. Before this year, when we would have parent-teacher conferences, like, it's not just after school. They take off the whole day. We don't have school. So 10 to 7 is conferences. I probably have about 4 parents.
Yeah, that
That's
sounds
crazy.
like my first year in IPS. That was a big shock for me.
Yeah.
Your job was easy.
Yeah.
Man, because when I was working in Lawrence Township, I mean, every parent showed up.
Yeah.
It was exhausting. I was like, I'm not trying to talk to 90 of y'all.
Right.
But it's a striking difference, and you're right. Parents have been super involved now. It's almost like a reality check. It's like a lot of these parents, which is good. Like I think a lot of parents woke up and they were
Honestly,
like, "Oh my God!" Like I
really
have to step up and be involved.
Like these teachers are not. These teachers' specific job is to teach your kids, and they're supposed to give them tasks. That's really all that they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to babysit them. Really, this showed them that y'all. This is honestly what they should be doing. Anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all should be on their homework. Y'all should be making sure their laptops work. Y'all should be making sure that they can get their homework done.
Yeah.
If something's wrong with their computer, their internet, y'all should be trying to figure what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? At first they didn't have to do that, but now they do. So honestly, I feel like it's been a good thing for teachers because, you know what I'm saying, now they're involved and now they understand how much teachers actually do. Like I feel like at first for years people did not get it. Like I literally have your badass kid all day long.
Times 30.
And I'm not their parent, so a lot of times if they don't respect me, we're not going to get anywhere because I'm not their parent. But now you see, you don't even want your son all day.
Right.
Exactly.
You ready to put him somewhere.
Exactly.
And that's how you know. Like, they're just now learning their kids are behind.
Yeah.
They can't read, can't add.
Yeah,
why are you just now knowing that? Yeah.
Like, you have 2-3 kids. I don't get it. We've been doing this with 30, 35. I've even had as many as 40 kids in a classroom at a time for 48 minutes. What do you mean? Like, why are you overreacting about this?
Oh, yeah,
you got
like,
2-3 kids at home.
How many kids have y'all had, like, the most in one class?
40.
Yeah.
40?
I think mine has been like 34.
Whoa.
They don't have caps. We don't have
No
caps.
caps?
There's no caps here.
No cap.
Because I've been like trying to do like the daycare thing, and they definitely have ratios in daycare.
Yeah.
But in schools they don't.
No, there's no cap here.
nuts.
Some states have caps. We don't have a cap.
No.
Whoa.
No, and even on the internet, when you look up schools, it's like they tell you what the ratio is. I'm like, that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lie. Come into my classroom at 9:30 a.m. You will see 39 children.
Mm-hmm.
I know I was speaking to a teacher when we was in this fabric store, and she was saying like she normally has 35, but she was happy because she was going back because of coronavirus. She only got 11 kids now.
Yes.
And she
Changes
was like,
your
this is
world.
going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's gonna be easy.
We teachers are catching a break
Yes,
today.
I only have 17. I only have
That's
17 because of
good.
COVID, and I don't know what to do with just 17.
Like,
It's
I could chill. Maybe I could go to the bathroom.
yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
Crazy.
Eat a
Right.
snack. Damn.
That's definitely a highlight, a good thing that came out of COVID. Really, ain't gonna lie.
Right.
Like, y'all really
Gives
get a
teachers little bit of a
break.
break.
Exactly.
Let them get a breather.
I'm not gonna lie,
Mental break.
it's been nice. So when we
Okay,
heard that we were going back, I was like,
Do you think that the area that a school, like wherever the school is, do you think that determines the child's potential? You know what I'm saying? To be great. You don't think? Okay.
I definitely think it determines what kind of resources
Yeah, I
they're
was
gonna
about to
have.
say it plays a part because of resources.
Yeah.
Because the school gets money based off of the taxes around the houses, the houses that's around the school. So if you're in a low neighborhood where the houses are not nice, everything's not nice, so they're not really paying a lot of taxes, the school's not getting a lot of money. And so it affects the resources, which then affects the student's ability to learn. But is it like the only indicator? No. But it plays a heavy role because of resources.
Yeah.
But then, Jenny, you were saying something about like how the teachers in the township, when you work for township, you said that they, not the teachers, excuse me, the parents, they reached out to you more. So, like, you know, with the IPS families not reaching out to you as much, would that mean like, you know, that child, you know, since they're in a different neighborhood or area, that the parents care more, even if it's more political to an extent?
I don't know if it's that they care more. I just think that they're a little bit more invested in it, knowing that they live in a more affluent neighborhood. They know where their tax dollars are going. I think that in turn, as a result, makes them more involved. I really think that's the key. They know, you know what I'm saying? I think they know about the system. They're knowledgeable enough to really use it to their advantage. I mean, I think every parent wants their kid to be successful, and if they know that they have the cards in their hand, I mean, because for Lawrence Township, I mean, we had a lot of affluent families that lived in the Geist area. I mean, I had kids in my classroom, who had CEOs of pharmaceutical companies here in Indy, and I mean, I've had that. I've also had students that were being bused across from the trailer parks, right there across in Lawrence, the railroad track. And so when things like that happen, like, for example, that was a challenge for them. They didn't want those kids to be bussed over. So it's a divide. I mean, it's one or the other. It's, it's wealthy family versus the kids that were busing from poor neighborhoods across the railroad track in Lawrence. So it's like, they know this side of the railroad. They know how to really use their resources to get what they want, make sure their kids are successful. Whereas these other families over here, they don't really know anything about it. No one's really talking to them. They're not explaining how it works. They're not explaining to them how to be involved in their kids' education. A lot of them don't even get phone calls. Being in IPS now in alternative education, like, I've spoken to so many families this past year where they don't even get updates from the district. They don't get phone calls. They get all their phone calls in English. They don't speak English. So how are they getting information? They're not staying informed. I have had parents call me crying saying, I don't know why they do this. I don't understand why I can't go enroll my kid in school. They just shoo me away. They told me to leave. We don't have anyone here that speaks Spanish. That one lady that speaks Spanish isn't here today, so you're just going to have to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not okay for us to be doing that. And they don't know what to do. And they have all the funding.
They're not educated enough.
Exactly.
And it's not their fault.
Exactly.
So
they have all that funding, though, for that type of service, and it's like, where is it going?
Yes, because we have 2 ESL teachers, 2 for 6th grades.
Yeah.
And my school, if I had to guess the demographics, I would say 60% black, 30% Hispanic, 10% white.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, that's what I would say. Might even be black and Hispanic, might even be a little closer than the 60-30. But for us to have such a heavy population of Hispanic kids, and like she was saying earlier, I have kids in my class who speak no English. No English.
Really?
They came straight from Guatemala, they speak no English. Or they might speak a little, but their parents speak none. And so, as a teacher who speaks very little Spanish, and then I don't have an ESL teacher, I feel like helpless. Like, what am I supposed to do to help this kid who speaks no? It's like, I'm typing stuff in a translator. They trying to read it. I'm telling them, just write your stuff in Spanish. It's okay. Just write the answers in Spanish. But then I don't know what it says. Like,
it takes you longer to do your job.
So now I'm at home. Remember all them hours we was talking about translating. And so it's hard. Like, they need to put the money into the things that we need, and they're not. Like, those families are really getting left behind.
This is not right. They need to up our funding. It's like, why do they have me going to 5 different buildings as an ESL teacher? And even then, it's like, I'm not even really providing language services. Instead of teaching kids, I am translating. I'm spending all my time translating. Everybody's calling me to do phone calls, to translate presentations, to call kids that, like, I don't even really service, but there's a language barrier. It's like, what is my real title? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was mentioned earlier, like, okay, so we're counselors, we're social workers as well, teachers, but I feel like I'm an interpreter this school year. It's like, where do I really
if you're an ESL teacher,
help kids?
You're an interpreter.
My
We're
principal
like,
specifically
she
tells
speaks
us,
Spanish. Let's get her in here.
Our
They're
principal tells
excited.
us, call an ESL teacher. If you got a family that doesn't speak English, but you need to call home, call the ESL teacher. Like, our administration tells us.
I'm sure y'all are like super valuable, especially y'all know Jenny. Like, we've been to Mexican, you know what I'm saying, countries and stuff. So she speaks Spanish like she knows the slang of, you know how black people talk. She knows the slang of each Spanish, you know what I'm saying, group. So I know that they always probably call you like, hey.
They do.
That's why she at 5 different schools.
Right, rotating.
We need help. But that's crazy that they stretching this one ESL.
Yes.
But then again, like, is it hard for them to find an ESL teacher? You know what I'm saying? That's probably hard. Like, you find a Hispanic person who's, you know what I'm saying, who went to school and who understands how to deal with kids, you know what I'm saying, who got they You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you got to have certain stuff to be a teacher. You know what I'm saying? You might have to have citizenship,
have a
license, something like that. You know what I'm saying? In order for you to get a license, you might have citizenship. You got to go through the government to become an ESL teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's plenty of Hispanic people that could do that, but it's probably bad because they don't have the papers to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Last year we had one that didn't even speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But they just put her with the kindergarten through second because they felt like, well, they young. So you can help them.
Right, you can teach them.
You be okay.
What about the families?
Right, but she speaks no Spanish.
It's crazy. Y'all, even teachers with an ESL license, it's like, it's not a requirement for you to even know a second language.
Yes, it's not. Yeah. You do not have to know Spanish. What? To be ESL.
Yes, so here I am, right? First year in IPS, ESL, professional development, and all I see are white women for these positions. And I'm like, you mean to tell me that no one in here speaks a second language? Like, are y'all for real right now?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's that easy.
That's
nuts.
I
have to get an emergency permit to even have my role because I don't have an ESL license. Like, that's not what I went through the School of Education for. I really went through for secondary social studies. Yeah.
Because if they didn't give you yours, that would have been stupid.
Right? Exactly. Right. They need me at this point.
Fluent.
So I know. I don't know why it works the way it does, but again, we have people making these requirements that aren't even educators.
So what can you what can they do? Like, what can they do to get that? Because like I said, it has to be a reason why it's not that many ESL teachers. I'm thinking it's probably because they can't. It's something preventing these Hispanic people from getting those jobs. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's something.
It's probably the education.
Maybe they don't know.
I think it's the education requirements. I think even if you don't have a degree, you have to have at least a certain amount of college credit to be an ESL.
Yep.
And so a lot of them probably don't have that credit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what it is. But at this point, we're desperate.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Right. They should kind of probably do something to where they waive some of the requirements, and at least you able to speak another language.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're bilingual and you understand what's going on, then they should make some exceptions.
Because
it seems like it's needed.
Too.
Yeah.
It seems like it's needed. Right. Hispanic people definitely pay taxes.
Welcome to education in the United States of America. We just do
got deep into this.
We do not emphasize learning more than one language. I mean,
all right, I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter. Okay, so how does a kid? I know, when I was younger, I was smart, so I always was the teacher's pet, sort of, kind of, you know what I'm saying? I fuck with all my teachers, you know what I'm saying? I did that in college, too, and that's how I really passed a lot of stuff, because I really was what's that? In class, I would, make when I was doing my master's, I was really, probably, 3 black girls in my class, and, I was black, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, one of them was a lawyer, one of them was trying to be a lawyer, too. And then I was black, you know what I'm saying? I'm IT, I'm coming in with lashes, nails, hair, you know what I'm saying? I'm a real black person. Oh my God. So I'm always asking questions. So I always was somebody that everybody knew because I was different from everybody.
Right.
So my question to y'all would be how does a kid become a teacher's pet for y'all? I know y'all have some.
It's so hard.
Have special students.
Such a hard question. So I do. Oh, this sucks to say it out loud. Go
ahead, tell the truth.
Special kids.
So I do have faves sometimes on accident. It doesn't happen on purpose. And I always tell my kids when they ask me, who's your favorite? I don't have favorites. I love all y'all equally. But in my head, I'm I got a few favorites. Yeah.
I'm not lying. I got favorites, and I don't like you. Keep pushing. Sit in your chair. Don't talk to me.
I try not to tell them. But they know who it is because they'll say it. They be like, yes, it is, because she your favorite, he your favorite. I be like, well, y'all right, though.
Well, they did their homework.
Right.
Like the rest of you little rascals.
Yes. I don't know what it takes, though. I think it's, man, I don't know, because it really isn't always just about the work. I have kids that were my favorites, and they didn't do shit. They was bad. But
aren't those always the kids, though? It's you know what it is.
Y'all have to give them more attention, though.
And that is it.
Yeah. I just feel like you just, it's with any person you meet, you either have a connection or you don't. With some kids, it's I've had this connection, just something, clicked.
Mm-hmm.
It was their personality. It was, I don't know, just even though they may have not been the kids that like worked the hardest in your class or
Right.
got the best grades, you saw something in them.
Mm-hmm.
They just had some kind of spark, some kind of chemistry, something in them, some energy that you knew that they were going to be successful. You just had to develop that kind of relationship and respect for that student, and in return they show you that respect. It made them want to do better.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know what I mean. It may have been a kid that just, things didn't come very easy to them, and so by developing that relationship with them, I think that it does really make a difference. So if I can't reach 39 kids that day, at least I was able to reach, that one student. And they always come back and say, thank you so much for helping me to work harder. I always remember this girl I had, I'm not going to say her name, but we, she didn't work very hard. She always has straight F's. I'm like, what's going on? My gosh. But we ended up getting her grade up to a B. I think it was a 6th grade class I had a couple years ago, and her mom showed up, and she came over and gave me some roses, and she was like, thank you so much. If it wasn't for you making me do my work, I wouldn't be where I am. And it was, so it's always those moments that, are just the best experiences for you, and it reminds you, like, oh, okay, I'm really making a difference on these kids.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's not always the good kids, guys. It's like, it's just
It's
those,
the connection.
it's those bad
It's
kids
not
you got
always the
connections
good
with.
kids. Most times it really do be the bad kids.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's the bad ones, but of course it's the good ones too. But it's not always the good ones. Like, I think that's what people need to understand. Like, we love the bad ones too. It's the connection. Like,
Yes,
because they can be bad, but for some reason with you, it's just like that respect and trust.
Yeah.
Like, they'll try to teeter the line, but they won't go crazy.
They trust you.
And with
think
other
that's
people,
what it is.
they go
trust
crazy.
you.
And you just gotta calm them down. Like, you can be that person for them. And it's definitely the connection.
It's a connection.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, swear to God, I might give me some too.
No more wine.
You got a second bite?
Were you guys ever teachers' pets?
Oh, man.
Great question.
I don't think
Dang,
I
that is a
was.
good question.
Like, were you
mean,
guys past
was
that?
a quiet
Thanks, Naya.
student.
Past that.
Yeah.
I've always.
I think
don't
I-
know.
Jenny needs some more too.
I was always just that low key. I wanted to fly under the radar type of student. Because that's just how I am though. In college though, I kind of did what Ariel did. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna do my best to make sure like this professor sees me. I'm in a class of full of 50, 200 or even more. Like, I need to make sure I get a certain grade. I got to get my GPA up. And so I kind of came out of my shell then, but throughout school, I just kind of flew under the radar. I've always just had an interest in school, and always knew it was really important. So, no, I didn't really see a need to be a teacher's pet,
I think maybe elementary school. I feel like once I got older, I kind of was getting in trouble in middle school, so they didn't like me. And then I feel like high school, not really. Like, maybe my coaches that were teachers.
Yeah, probably.
But that was it, really.
I can see you.
Yeah, just like Richie and stuff.
Your coaches.
That's
for sure.
it.
Right.
Like, only
She
my
was
coaches.
really good.
They
She
always
was really
go-
good at sports
They
when
was
we was
gonna
in
show
high
her
school.
favoritism
Yes,
anyway.
that's
so-
Right. That's how it was.
That's how it went.
So I think that was it. And that's a good question, because now I'm like,
This side note, now you remember Powerpuff though?
Yes.
Real lit.
Nah,
I used to clown in Power for real though.
Love
She used to
it.
get us some
They
fucking
team-
touchdowns
they
for real.
team
She was
definitely
fast.
clown. I was in the
We
stand.
won every year.
We did.
We won every
We
We
year.
won every year.
We wasn't playing. We was
we ready,
serious
look.
though. It was really serious.
We was for real.
No, like they was actually. I
was.
remember out there seeing, Ariel damn near tackled the motherfucker.
Look.
Yeah, but I was definitely tackling. But I was trying
Yeah,
to get.
we was
I was trying to
not
get
just
people.
doing flag.
No, yeah, we wasn't. Did we? We did not do
God.
nothing flag related. Like, we was really like trying to hit people.
We was.
And like, we was just trying to get people out the way for her so she can get us a touchdown. She always did. So
That's like you see it going.
it was just fun. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we might have to run that back. Powder puff
That
used
was
to be
lit.
fun.
Lit. But anyways, okay. So how do you deal? I know I was having this conversation with Jenny. she said she like had like a class full of like 40 kids or something like that, and she got all of them to like do what she told them to do. Like it was they was rowdy. She got them to calm down. So how do you guys do that? I know like sometimes after lunch too, they probably rowdy.
I had to
So how do
learn
you
that
guys
one.
do that? Like how do you guys
How do
get
y'all
them calm?
calm the crowd?
So I'm gonna say number one, relationship matters.
Yeah.
When it comes to these kids, if you have a genuine relationship with you and they know you care, that makes it a little easier to manage behaviors. Because I can come at you a little sideways, just a little bit, but you know I'm doing it out of love. Like I
Right.
care about you, and so they respond a little better. I also learned last year, it was my first year doing it, but last year when I was teaching, I had my kids meditate. So after
Nice.
lunch and in the morning, we meditated every day. And it got to the
Whoa,
point
that's
where if I
different.
skip days, they would ask me sometimes, like, can we meditate? I'm just like, I need to meditate.
Yeah.
And so
That's right.
introducing
Yeah.
coping skills to these kids also helps. Like, we have to remember, a lot of people call kids little adults, and they're not. They're not adults. They don't know nothing. You have to teach them everything. They don't know that when they come back, they don't know how to calm down. You got to teach them how to calm down.
Exactly.
And so meditation was a big thing last year. My kids loved it, and it made me realize probably every year I'm going to do that from now on. But connection and relationship definitely helps manage behavior.
I would never have thought like meditation was something.
Me neither, but it helped me. So I'm like, why not help
that
my,
definitely
you
helped
need
me
my
too,
kids?
though.
Yeah.
You need it
And
as a
so
teacher.
I had to tell myself, well, if it helped me, let me try it with my kids. Now, did it work with all of them? No. Some of them hated it. Some of them hated sitting there, like, but most of them were very receptive to it,
For
and they
sure.
loved it.
That's
So
really good.
that helped too.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I definitely second that. I
calm them
don't know.
down?
I didn't call it meditation. I'm not
No,
sure
what you
what I
do?
called it. But you know, we had our little 15-minute period. It was either before recess or after recess where I would shut all the lights off. You know, I would have the windows open a little bit, but you know, these were young enough kids to where it worked out okay. And I would just turn on some instrumental music.
Yeah.
You know, we would vote on, you know, what do you want to hear today? Do you want to hear the sounds of the rainforest? Do you want to hear ocean waves? Like, what are we feeling today?
Hey, that's kind of similar
And
to meditation.
you know,
Very
and
similar.
I said, okay, let's go ahead and pick a spot.
fire.
I even had kids say, you know, tell kids that bring in a pillow tomorrow, bring in,
Yeah.
you know, a stuffed animal or a blanket. You know, we're gonna dedicate this time to just resting. You know, I called it taking a nap probably. You know, I was like, let's take a nap real quick. And
I should give them that time.
yeah, I mean, and
Calm your
you'd be
asses down.
surprised though. It's just how
Relax.
much their productivity went up after
Yeah.
that. They were rested, they were ready. I was like, okay, let's make a smooth transition into our next activity. But not only that, just like consistency. You know,
Yeah.
you want to give them time to like be themselves and have that free time, but you want to bring it back in and you have to teach them. You know, you have got to teach them, you know, when the appropriate times are for certain behaviors. And so after that, we transitioned effortlessly into our next activity. And you just have to have consistency. Kids want to know, okay, it's, you know, 1 o'clock, this is the time that we do this.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of kids don't have a structure at home. That's part of the reason why, you know, home learning, you know, online classes during COVID, it just has not worked for a lot of kids. They need a schedule. They need consistency.
I mean, they need to be in
They
like
need
a
consequences for
Yeah.
stuff.
like a surrounding that is
Yes.
learning.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
They at home
Exactly.
with TVs on, radios, people
Exactly.
arguing. When they take themselves off mute for the 1 second to answer a question, I'm
Woo-wee.
listening. Like, how are you sitting at home with all
Right.
that right now?
Right. A lot of them, the older kids, they're babysitting their younger
Yep,
siblings because
and
they
that's
just
definitely what's
don't have
happening.
they don't have a choice. You know, so I definitely agree that it's yeah, I think it's best that they, you know, move back into the classroom, and they just need that structure ultimately. They need it.
Yeah,
They
like
need it.
I was saying, like some of them some of them weren't eating. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they're not getting better or not. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So like, and then like I know that some public schools are programs. They have programs where they feed kids. But it's like how the kids are going to get to these areas where you're giving out this
Exactly.
food.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I'm
the point.
saying?
Most of them
that's
don't
my
have
question.
transportation.
Yep.
Where they go?
They don't have transportation.
How far
and
do they have
giving
to
them-
walk to get a
Yeah.
meal?
Right.
I mean, my goodness,
And
if
it's
you're
too
already,
far, they might not do it.
you know,
Yeah.
lacking energy,
And then
how are
they
you
gotta
gonna
carry
make
the
it?
box back.
Yep.
And the box has nothing in it anyway. Over right when COVID hit, I was handing out boxes at John Marshall. Like, we would take them off the bus, give them to families, and we opened one just to see what was in it. Because they said it would feed a family of 4 for a week. And I opened that box and was like, how? This is not feeding a family of 4 for 1 week. Maybe a day, maybe 2 days, but not for a week. Like, they're not really doing as much as they could.
Yes, they should be.
Wow.
And then, okay, so, do you guys think that, this is not one question, but do you guys think that the reason why they do things like that, they're not giving enough resources to where they're supposed to be, is because the diversity is not there in the education system, like the higher education system? I know, like
the administration.
Yeah, like at the administration level, or why do you guys think that they're not doing that great on resources?
Or maybe because they don't come out of their offices to really see what's going on.
Yeah.
Or take a chance to like actually hear
I'm gonna be extremely blunt. I feel like they don't care. I don't think they care. I really don't. I mean, it's a systemic issue. It's a mentality of, well, worry about your own. You know what I'm saying? If you really wanted to get out of your situation, well, then you would work harder and you would seek opportunities out. And they just have so many different excuses for it. So many different things, right? But they're just not willing to really help. Okay, we have a systemic issue. It's historical. It started with redlining. Why do you think our schools are in the conditions that they're in? She mentioned that it was based on property taxes. That is correct. It cannot be based on that. That's not fair. There is no such thing as separate but equal. Those are still the days that we're living in, period. There is no such thing as an equal education for all. No one. I'm sorry. Depending on where you are, what neighborhood you're coming from, what resources you have in that school, you're not getting an equal education, period. And there's just no way around that. I mean, I can't fix the issue. Educators cannot fix the issue. It's got to come from higher up. But the problem is like, a lot of people don't really know. They don't know that it's based on that, a system that was created after World War II. Like, no one really thinks about that. And so it's just going to continue. It's going to get worse. So there's really no answer for it, but you know, it's got to be a decision from our government. And I just, quite frankly, I just don't think they care.
But this is the thing, though. I feel like the difference between what you were saying with Lawrence Township and where Naya works at in the public school system. She said she only had 4 parents come for parent-teacher conference. You had so many. And that's probably because of the type of job that they had, too.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I cannot take off of my job.
You can't take off when you work at Walmart.
And drive all the way to the school.
You work at
take an hour and then
you
drive
can't
all the way.
Off. They don't get
you know
time
what I'm
off.
saying?
You can't. You might lose your job if you don't go to your...
That's definitely systematic.
It definitely is.
Next man up in a lot of those positions.
And so it sounds like to me, from what you guys are saying, like for a student to, it doesn't matter where the student is. If the student has support, then the student can get to the next level.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
Yeah, but the support is harder.
You gotta know how
it's gonna be
system
definitely
works.
harder in the low income for you to
Yes.
get support from your parents if your
Because
parents
they
have to
struggle.
work.
They're
you
just
gotta
not
survive.
there.
Yeah.
They can't be there.
Or you don't have food. Like
Right.
you have food
Yeah.
for you to focus on
Right.
your task during the day. Then you'll focus. But if you're starving, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's a science to not eating. You know what I'm saying? And trying to learn.
Think about when I got here. I
They
said,
can't do
I'm
it.
going to
They're
go
not
and get some
here.
food. I said I'm not going to be able to
communicate.
really contribute to the conversation. I'm going to have to get some food. So, okay, I want to say this real quick. I looked it up.
Okay.
They are not allocating money where it should be at all. So this is crazy to me. It's really crazy that the superintendent of IPS is making $300,000.
Yeah.
How? I think
This
that's
is
much
all,
more than the president.
and this
Her-
is all public information.
her
Y'all can look
salary-
up salary.
No, they have
Her
a salary.
salary is $300,000.
Yeah.
No, it's not more than that.
So why
Yeah.
is she? Why does she have a salary of $300,000 when our
That's a
kids
lot.
are
Yeah, that's a
struggling
lot.
to eat?
Or
Exactly.
superintendent.
And so that means everybody on the board is definitely making between
Yeah.
150 to 280. Like
At
nobody's
least.
making under
And then
150.
she has
Yeah.
incentives too.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's a
certain-
base pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Exactly.
base pay.
I looked up what my boss
That's
makes.
crazy.
She's making at least 120.
Yeah, my boss makes 110
Yeah.
Whoa.
as a principal.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we sitting here. I work 2
Yes.
jobs. I got a second job.
Yes.
Not you guys. You
I got a second job. I
man.
do.
That is
I got a
crazy.
part-time job. But my principal is making 110.
I got
So,
married, so you know. That's where my second income comes from.
She got married to somebody that's in the military, and that's a whole different other topic
Right,
because they
that's a whole
have
different
so
ballgame.
many
Okay.
like
Yes.
incentives.
Yes,
So
they
Yes.
do.
Yes.
They
You
do.
know what I'm saying?
They have
Yes.
a ton.
Mhm.
But
So before
as they
that,
should,
though,
as they
before
should.
she got with the military guy, yeah,
It was a
similar.
struggle, y'all.
It was similar.
It was a
Yeah,
struggle.
and mine is just to pay for school, but it's
Yeah.
still the fact of I don't feel like I should have to have a second job as many
you
hours as I
shouldn't.
put in.
Correct.
And so
Yep.
it's just crazy, like, cause she's saying comfortable with her 300,000.
Okay.
super.
Right. What is she
What?
doing? Coming out with her weekly videos.
Yeah, and that's it.
I want to keep my job. Sorry.
Yeah.
If anybody hears this, but for real though, it's like, I mean, I know surely there are a lot of other responsibilities that come with being a superintendent, but it's like, is it really worth the $300K? Like, why don't you step into our shoes?
Yes.
Here's my problem.
But
I
did
feel
she?
like,
Was she in y'all
but
shoes at one
here's-
point?
I think so.
I looked her
like,
up, and I think she was a teacher
Yes,
at one
they have
point.
experience, guys. Here's my issue though.
Get
It's
them
like,
together.
if you're up there, you're making certain rules and you're putting certain structures into place, like, I think you need to not be so far removed from what it was like to be in the classroom. For a lot of these people, they were in the classroom 10, 15 years ago. Like, that's a long time ago.
That's
You
so
need to be in
long.
our classrooms today.
Yeah,
I want you to
during
see what's
COVID.
going on in our classrooms
I
today.
need to see what's going
What
on.
are these kids dealing with? I want you to see it with your own eyes. I don't want you to hear this through some phone call or such and such person at this building that you heard this is what's going on. No,
So
like,
y'all
I
don't
want
have-
you to
y'all
come
don't have
in the
things where
room.
Y'all talk to the superintendent.
I mean,
no,
no.
I never talked to her a day in my life.
No, I don't know her, but she definitely should. They should be doing that daily. I want to see you in our buildings every day of the week, going through, seeing what's going on, things that you can, be improving for our kids. If we are in the business of doing what's best for kids, this really should not be an issue. But again, I really feel like there's a larger issue at work. There's a larger issue.
Yeah. But it's like I said, like, so you guys never have a chance to talk to your higher ups.
No,
As a teacher.
Never.
That's different
Yeah,
than
that's
most jobs. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
definitely
Yeah.
different because we in our
That needs
video
to be talked
conferences-
about,
we
for
definitely
sure.
In our video conferences weekly with ours.
We're
Yeah.
so
Like,
separated.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
we-
there's a disconnect.
Yeah, we don't talk to them. I don't feel like the people who are higher up, they go into schools very rarely.
Yep.
Like they do walkthroughs during certain schools a couple times a year maybe, but most of the times they're not interacting with teachers, kids,
Mhm.
like the people.
What
on that
are
level.
they doing?
If
I
they
don't know.
are, it's for PR.
Yes.
You're going to hear about it. You're going to see pictures of it. You're going to see it
Yeah.
on social media. You're going to see it on the news. They're going to make it look real good. And so walks into this building, and here she is reading a book with these kids. And it's so fluffy, and it's so nice. But it's like, I want you to be in the classroom when the nitty-gritty is happening.
Yeah.
I want you to see the kids melt down. I want you to see that this kid is homeless, and we got to, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's coming together to help these kids and come up with the resources. That's the stuff that you need to see.
Yeah.
Okay, not, oh, I'm going to sit here pretty for the news and read a storybook.
So I looked at, she was a teacher. She wasn't a teacher at IPS, but she was a teacher. She taught at KIT.
Okay. Isn't that like
Charter.
charter school?
Yeah.
That's not even the same thing.
Yeah.
That's different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Don't get me
So-
started on charter schools.
Okay, well, my next question was, are you guys overwhelmed? I think that's obvious. You guys
Woo.
basically said
Yes.
that already. But do you guys think that you're second parents? Do you guys look at yourself as second parents?
I think I did. That's why I think it's so important for teachers to have boundaries. You need to go home at night and you need to find a way to turn it off. I know that we take our work home, but I have made it a new rule for myself to not take anything home, period. You know what I'm saying? If it means I got to go into work early to get something done and prepare, I'll do that. If I need to stay a little bit later, I'll do that. But I don't want to take work home and ruin my home environment. I have had to create very, very strong boundaries for myself so that I don't find myself in that position of feeling like I am actually mom to these kids, because that's not fair to me. That's not fair to them, because, I never want to be in the position where, okay, it's time to say goodbye to a kid, and they have to, we got to go our separate ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's,
It's
you
in
have
the
a
school
school
year
year
for
with
sure.
that kid, and that's it, and you'll always be my kid. You were in my class, but you have to have clear boundaries.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. I'm still early, my 3 years compared to your 8. So I am in the space now where I am learning how to create those boundaries. Because I do feel like a second parent. And I'm not a parent at all. So,
I know, yeah.
So,
You have no
so
clue.
to be a second parent and you have never even been a parent, it's a heavy weight.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a second parent, and it's because I think it's because I haven't learned how to create those boundaries all the way because I'm still kind of fresh into this field. But like my kids, you know, they have games and stuff outside of school. They want me to come there. They want me to do birthday party. They want me to do all of this stuff, and so you feel like a second parent. And then they come to school and tell you everything that they're dealing with their first parent, and they putting all of that on you, and you want to help them feel better about that. So it's like, I feel like a second parent, but I have had the same conversation you, like what you just said, with teachers that at my school have been working longer, and that's the same thing they say. Like, you just got to kind of learn how to navigate it, how to cut it on, cut it off, like how to separate it, how to be there, but not always have that open door. Like, you got to learn how to have the boundaries.
Exactly.
How do you even do that? Like,
Right, it's hard.
And you gotta learn how to say
hard.
no.
It's
and
hard.
I mean,
like,
that's
easier said than done.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. It sure is. I mean, over time, though, I think you're right. Like, I think it gets a lot easier to do it, and it gets a lot easier to just say no. You know, I think for the first years of teaching, I was scared. Like, I was afraid of, like, not having a job, you know, because I started off at charter schools, and, you know, a lot of charters, they don't want you to be unionized. They will actually fire you if you join a union. It's a way to keep your pay really low. It's a way for them to be able to put extra responsibilities on you that you really shouldn't have as a teacher. A lot of schools, they will say, here's your school cell phone. You need to be available to these students until 9 p.m. for tutoring.
Oh, no.
They give you all kinds of responsibilities, yes. So that's why they don't want unions involved. And so for a long time, maybe for a few years, I was afraid of just not having a job. So here I am, I'll do that, or I'll go, you know, do that game, or I'll cover this. And here I am just extending myself, and at the expense of just me, my health, my time, my, you know, time to spend with friends and family, and just take care of myself, more importantly. And so you just have to learn how to say no. I think, you know, year 4, year 5, I got into teaching. I got really comfortable with doing that, and I said no. Like, I'm not going to do that. I have other things that I have to take care of. And, you know, as an employer, if they're understanding, and if you have a good administrator, they're going to understand that, okay, like, you have a personal life outside of here, and that's important to maintain. So
If you have a good administrator.
yes, I
just want to
I've had 2 really good ones so far. You know what I'm saying? An awesome administrator is like, man, I used to be able to go into this guy's office and just let him have it, and tell him every single frustration, and he would just be like, all right, Jenny, you know, I appreciate you talking to me, and here's what we're going to do. And it was all about teamwork, and I think that's key, you know what I'm saying? But, of course, it's not always possible to have, you know, a great administration, and I've dealt with that too, and I've been run out of buildings because of it. As I quit. Quite frankly, I quit Lawrence Township because there was just poor administration, and I didn't feel safe. And so you have to make that decision sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next question is, like, what support do you guys think you need from the parents? I think we already talked about the administration, but
Trust.
more so for from the parents, what do you guys need from them?
I think trust, like she said,
Trust.
and then I don't even know how to word it, but for them to just know we're not a daycare. Like,
period.
That is, and we keep saying that, but it's because it's so true.
Understand that.
It's a daycare to these parents. It's a
Yeah.
daycare, and I think that's why.
Yeah.
I don't know if they don't care about the education as much or what, but it's like I have somewhere for my kid to go, and they're gonna get fed, and that's good. I know what time to pick them up. I know what time to drop them off. Half the time they late picking them up.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's right.
That's what I would say. That's what I was saying.
Trust. I mean, you have got to trust your teachers. You have to trust that they're doing their job. I mean, unless you get wind of something else going on, you have to, establish a sense of a team. I mean, you have to
Yeah,
know
they need
you
back-
have to know
guys
that
need
y'all are
backup.
on the same team. You're
Yes.
working together. It's a partnership to make sure that your child is going to have academic success. Period. If you don't trust me to do my job, that means you're going to start meddling into what it is that I'm doing in my classroom. Once it gets to the point of you trying to dictate how I do my job, now I have some issues.
Yeah.
Okay, every teacher,
Right, your child's not
every
gonna get taught
teacher
well.
by
Right.
nature
If I'm
likes
annoyed.
to have control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We like to control
That's
our
true.
environment.
I think that is something that teachers have all in
Yeah.
common. You guys
Yeah.
like control for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you need to trust that I'm doing my job, and if I'm not doing it right, or you feel like we need to come together and collaborate, then let's do it. But I don't need you stepping on my toes, because I am the creator of my classroom, and I'm gonna follow the school rules and do everything my administrator asked me to do, but I'm gonna do it my way. If you have a problem, then let's get together. And if it's a bigger issue, then that just means you're at the wrong school, you have the wrong administration, you need to open your own school. I don't know, but you cross that bridge when you
Homeschool?
get there.
Homeschool's an option if you really want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're gonna be
homeschool.
putting their kids
They
right back into
definitely not
school in
doing
3
that.
months.
I'm about to say they not about to do that.
They're gonna be throwing
So
them
like
right
that
back.
that must be annoying to y'all then when people come in y'all classrooms and be watching y'all and stuff
Oh my
like that.
gosh.
Yeah,
That's probably
so we
annoying.
can observe. Yeah,
pressure.
we can observe. I get observed like once a week where people are coming in your
Yeah.
classroom. And it's so hard for the kids because you got to prep the kids and say, okay, there's going to be 5
Right.
people walking in here at some point today. Because when they walk in, who's really participating? All the kids is just watching all the people.
Right,
Like,
like, who is
Yeah.
what they doing? Why they here?
All the time.
But yeah,
Interesting.
it's
All
a
the
lot.
time. You know
I
what?
think I gotta deal with that. That's a lot.
Right.
Yeah, it's
That's
stressful.
a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it, to be honest. Like, I saw it as an opportunity for me
Well,
to be
you-
on the stage.
I don't know.
And we were showing out.
Yeah,
I was
I
like-
think
know how
the
to do it.
I was
difference
like, on
between
cue,
you
back
and Naya,
there.
I think that Naya didn't do as much student teaching as you did. So
Yeah.
you were always watching when you were student teaching.
Yeah.
Like even Jenny, like me and her used to in high school, when I was in high school, we was working at Sears together. That's where I met Jenny at. Then we ended up, she was at IU already. I ended up going to IU.
Okay.
That's where Naya went to. But so I remember like one of my classes, it was psychology, and she was in there, and I was like, Jenny's about to teach our class. My friend been teaching me, and she was teaching us.
Yeah,
so
see?
the teacher has to watch her teach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
So you
that's
kind of
something
got that experience.
Right.
I
but
never
Naya
did
probably
student
not.
teaching.
Yeah.
Never did
Oh,
student
man.
teaching.
You can
that's
tell,
right.
yeah,
You get a
y'all
transition
different in
to
that
teaching
way.
I never did
program.
student teaching. I was already a teacher, so they
Yeah.
count that as your student teaching. They're like,
Oh,
well, you already been
man.
doing it, so you good.
Good.
Like, you know,
Okay.
they just got to sign off
Oh,
on
no.
it.
They need to change that.
You're supposed to have
No,
somebody
no,
in
no,
there
no.
while they're doing it, while I was in that period, but you know.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's... all right, then. I had no idea.
Okay, so my next question is, how can parents help their kids if they're struggling? Like, they struggling with their work, they struggling, period. How can parents help them with that?
Ooh, that's a good question
Yeah.
because the automatic answer most people would say is a tutor, right?
Right.
But our families can't afford tutors.
Nope.
No.
So it's one of them jobs where you gotta put your gloves on and get in there yourself, almost. Because I don't know how else.
I don't know. I'm not sure that I even have a question or
No
an
answer for that.
answer
Answer
for
for that.
that.
Yeah, because I don't know what else they would
You don't
do.
know how parents can help their
Oh,
struggling kids?
man.
I think that they have
Can
to
they-
do it
can they help
themselves. They can help them.
Yeah.
But number one,
But they don't be knowing stuff though.
I
Right,
think
if
the
they don't
main
know.
thing is stressing the importance of education.
Honestly.
So they
Yeah.
have to know
That's
that
true.
you feel like education is important.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
if your kid is saying, well, they don't know how to do the homework, and you just saying, well, I don't know how to do it neither, so it's fine, then they're not gonna care. But if you're saying, okay, let's try to find a video on YouTube, let's try to look something up on this, let's try to text your teacher and see if they can give us something. If you're exhausting options and your kid sees you trying to exhaust options, then they know that this is something that's important, even if you can't
I
figure it
agree.
out.
Good
Even if y'all
answer.
can't figure it
That was
out.
awesome.
Yeah.
They know that it's important because they know they sat at home with their parents and they tried so many things to get them to understand it. And so I think number one, maybe that's the first step. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Stress the importance
That's
of
perfect.
it.
That's a great
Honestly,
answer.
that is
I
why
mean,
I was successful in school
Me
because
too.
my parents don't know anything.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
they stressed to me and Steven, like, how important school was. Like, y'all have to get good grades.
Yes.
And, like, was giving us
Right.
incentives on getting
definitely.
good grades.
And
you
that's
know?
how my mom was.
Yeah.
So they told me at the time.
And so you'll go out your way
playing
as
sports.
you'll
Yeah.
go. Oh yeah, you'll
They
go
told
out.
me sports and school was my job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll go out
Yeah.
your way as a kid if you know, like, this is very important to my
Yes.
parent. You'll try to figure it out on your own because at the end
Yes.
of the day, these kids are way more advanced than we were, especially with technology. So they can go
Yeah.
and figure out this shit by themselves, find
Right.
a YouTube video if
Right.
they know it's
True.
If
important.
they really want
True,
to.
true.
A lot of parents, like, to me, I see, and I'm sure you guys see this too. You guys can comment on this too. Like, oh, C's are okay, C's are passing, or D's is okay, or
Oh,
what. They don't really
no.
care about the grades. They don't
Right.
ask about the report card.
Right.
You
So
know
why
what I'm
would the
saying?
kids care?
Why would they care?
I've had kids come to me, and I've had parents have come to me and say, "Hey, we really tried to figure this homework out last night. I didn't know it, and so I couldn't help them understand it, and that's okay because now I know that not only are you trying, but I know that you're trying, you just can't get it,
Right.
and so I'm willing to take 10 minutes before class and help your kid. Okay, this is what you should have did last night. Like, this is what you're gonna do tonight. Here's the process, and they understand it, and then they can take it home. And okay, this is what my teacher told me I'm supposed to do. So now your
Right.
parent knows. So now maybe tomorrow when you make the same mistake, they can remember, no, remember yesterday, this isn't what the teacher told you what to do.
Exactly.
So communication is another way. As a parent, let me know that y'all tried and you can't understand it. Don't just send your kid to school with a blank homework
right.
and I don't know why it's blank.
Exactly.
I just feel like you didn't do it. So what am I, I'm not going to know that you need more help.
Exactly.
I just thought you didn't do your homework, so I'm going to give you that
You didn't
0
care.
and I'm going to keep it moving.
Yeah.
You
We don't
didn't
have
care at all.
time. We just don't have the time. You know, I think a lot of kids, there's an embarrassment too. And in like 6th grade and just middle school in general is just like a hard time for kids because they're like struggling between doing the right thing and doing what's cool. Like they want to really, look to their peers for a lot of things now. And, unfortunately, especially in urban community schools, not really like a cool thing to do for a lot of them. They're just like, nah, I don't want to like participate and show kids I'm smart because being smart is like acting white, which gets into a whole another set of issues, guys. But it's it's definitely something I see in urban education. So
Yeah. So my next, I was gonna have one more question, but I have a question after that now that I've been thinking about it. But for this question is, do you guys think homework matters? Like, I know, Jenny, I was talking to you about this, together, but you had your thoughts. I want to hear Naya's thoughts too. Like, do you guys give out homework, and how do you guys determine what
I'll let you go
to
first.
give out?
All right.
I already feel a certain type of way
So,
about homework.
I
so
give out
you
homework.
first.
I give out homework. I give out homework because I have to, number one.
Yeah.
Number
You guys
two,
have to give out homework.
we have to give out homework. Are we told how much? Are we told how often? Not really. Kind of. Guidelines are not strict, clear 3 times a week, but you are expected to give out homework. And number 2, the parents expect homework. If you don't send home homework, all of a sudden parents feel like you're not doing your job. Oh, well, my kid always say they don't have homework.
Good point.
And it's like, okay, they don't. So
Right,
what
period.
I'm supposed to say? But
That's a good point.
to answer the question, I do not 100% agree that homework is helpful.
Okay.
I think that it plays a part in education. I feel like in today's time and in the environment that I teach in, it's not the same for every township, but the environment that I teach in, homework doesn't help all my kids because most of them don't have somebody at home to support them, like how we just talked about. And so it makes them feel like they don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
And it ruins their
discouraging.
confidence. And so then they come to school. They were at school in the lesson doing it with me, thinking they knew what they was doing, got home, and now their confidence is low. They come back the next day, they don't want to participate because at home they felt stupid. The second reason is the kids that I teach have way more responsibilities than a kid should teach.
Yes.
They have to go home and babysit. They have to go home and they know their mom is going to be at work, so they got to cook dinner for them and their siblings.
Yep.
They have so much to do, and then I'm telling them, I don't care about your home life. Here go more and more and more and more work that you need to do at home.
Yeah.
So then you come to school again feeling like a failure because you had to do so much at home, but you did not get this work done. And you do care about your grades, but you care about your siblings more, making sure they got to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now you got a 0 on your homework because your mama going to make you go to bed at 8 regardless. And now you don't know what to do. You don't know how to come back from it. So I feel like it depends on the environment. It depends on the students. For me and my kids, homework is not too helpful. It actually hinders us kind of more than it helps us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Completely
I could
agree.
switch townships and feel completely different.
I think she's on the same level as
Right.
you though, which is crazy.
Yeah.
She said the same thing you said,
Yes.
which
It's-
is crazy.
Yeah, the whole
Y'all have the
time,
same
so.
exact.
I think homework is useless. I think I'm thinking from a greater standpoint, just that it's training kids to just do all this work.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
And take
really
the work
training
home,
them
yeah. Said
to
too.
take their work home when they
Yeah.
get a salary position.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Again, we're teachers. We're paid a salary. We need to be paid hourly.
Yeah.
We're not working just 40 hours a week. So
Right.
I think it's a complete waste of time. If you are utilizing all of your time effectively in the classroom, there's no need for homework. There isn't. It's just it's the way it's all set up. It's like, okay, you got to put grades in the grade book. Parents need to see how their kids are doing and think that their grades matter, and like what they actually know how to do is like it reflects on these grades. It's like that's not how it works at all. So I think it's a complete waste of time. I don't even think kids should really be in school 8 hours a day. And some kids are in school longer. When I was in Lawrence Township, kids were at school for 10, 12 hours. They were
Oh, no.
being sent to school early in the morning because their parents had to go to work. So they got dropped off at 7 in the morning or even earlier. Parents wouldn't come and pick them up until about 5 or 6 or 7 or however long that runs. It's like
That's a
these
long
kids
day.
spend so much
Sports.
time at school.
Yes. They
Kids
got sports after.
Kids need to be kids. They need to have time for just freedom and creativity and just all of these things that we do not give them time for in the classroom, and it breaks my heart. We don't need to be teaching these kids for 8 hours a day. Do you teach full 8 hours a
I
day?
do.
Like a whole
Virtual.
But I mean like in terms of their learning, like are you guys actually doing work for 8 straight hours?
Oh, like in school?
Yeah.
No. So
No.
I make sure that I'm having gaps and I'm
Yeah.
not teaching all 8 hours because our kids will be exhausted. I would be exhausted. Like,
Exactly. I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
just
but I
thinking
would be
about it.
exhausted.
Like it's not necessary, guys. It's not. I mean, we're looking. I like to look at this kind of stuff because I'm a nerd, but I like to look at data from other countries, and standardized testing is huge. And a lot of other countries, they're doing an amazing job with their test scores. Their kids don't spend 8 hours a day in
Mm-mm.
school.
And they
They're at
start
school
later.
for 3-4 hours a day.
Mhm.
Then they get to go home and spend time with their families. Their parents, they don't spend all day at work. They get time, they get hour, 2 hours for lunch.
Yeah.
They could have that interaction time with their kids. It's like, why should I be seeing your kids for longer than you get to see them? You get to go home and see them for 3 hours a day. And then what do? You put them to bed.
Yep.
Or they may not even see them because they're working all night, or maybe they work 2 jobs. So what do? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like if there's anything that I learned this year with COVID, it's just that we're doing education completely wrong. This is not how it's supposed to be. And I hope that, we make some changes because this is, it's ridiculous. It's like, it literally looks like a kindercare. We're daycare.
I think that's what it's looked
For
at
real.
in the United States. Education is a daycare.
I mean-
from the top to the bottom.
That's all that matters. Productivity.
I learned during COVID that I learned a lot that there are not a lot of resources in education, in particular because I'm an IT person. So everybody in my family, every time they got an issue with
Yeah.
IT, they're like, Ariel,
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's been my aunties with their kids. Like
Yeah.
one of my aunties, she has 8 kids. and she can't even go to work because she has
Yeah.
to make sure all of them boys all her kids are on. They're all
Yeah.
under 15 or 16.
You
They all have to do e-learning, so she had to make sure all of them are online at the same time. And then one time she had an issue where it was too many kids on. She was getting this error when she was trying to log them in.
Yeah.
And then I looked up the error, researched it, and it was because too many people were on at the same time. It's like noon.
Yeah.
So everybody on at noon.
Right.
So they couldn't even get in there. That told me, as an IT person, that the school did not pay a lot of resources for them
No,
to
the
have
broadband?
for them to have the network
What
to
was it,
handle all them people.
A week or 2 ago, they canceled school one day. I walked in.
I remember that day.
What?
I'm here on time. I get to work, try to clock in, can't clock in. I'm trying to get on my email, can't get on my email. I'm trying to get on Schoology, which is the website we use to assign assignments, can't get on there.
No.
I'm like, what's going on? They make an announcement, the whole IPS is messed up.
Yep.
So first they did a 2-hour delay, then they just had to cancel it because nobody could get online.
Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They couldn't handle it.
But they didn't have. But you gotta think too, like before.
They didn't really have that big need
Yeah,
for it.
it wasn't a need because people were not at home doing homework and accessing these sites as much as they are
True.
now.
Right.
True.
So it's like more of a need for it. But them immediately when this came around, they should have been 2 steps
That's what they
ahead
should
of
have
that.
did.
I
But-
agree.
As y'all said, it's.
But at the end of the day, like as we were
funding
seeing with
issue.
our president, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and our government, they're reducing the amount of resources for schools, and coronavirus happened, and that definitely looks like it affected the schools as
Why
well.
would you
Like
even
affected the
do
schools
that?
even
We
more.
need
Yeah,
more
like he
resources. Like,
allocated
But that's a
some of that to
businessman
somewhere
in
else.
office,
So
I mean,
you know what I'm saying, and that's just this was just not the time to be reallocating nothing.
Nah, not reallocating.
I
them
mean,
from education,
guys,
So, like,
especially.
I just want to show you like what this really did, because like, so we weren't even 1-to-1 on computers, just
No,
devices
at
and
all.
RPS.
Really?
No.
I had
This made it
y'all,
1-to-1.
some students.
Wow.
I have a couple students that just didn't even graduate last year. They're back again on their online classes because we couldn't get them a computer in time. We closed the schools in March. Why is it taking you guys months to send a laptop out to a kid? He literally had like one class to go, you guys. Like he was almost done. And because we could not get him a laptop before the school year was out, here we are. He's enrolled in the same course. Like he's having to take this class again.
So sad.
You know what I'm saying? Like this stuff resets. And so it's just ridiculous to me. Like I'm hearing stories about, you know, even within IPS, there are more wealthy schools. They tend to be predominantly white. Why is it that they're getting their technology devices before our alternative programs are getting technology? I don't understand that. That's
Right, wouldn't you want to hurry up and get those alternative kids done with their work?
Exactly.
Because really they only be having like a few classes.
Right, they
now.
almost done. Let them get
Exactly.
done.
So again, I don't know what the logic is. I mean, I think it stems back to, you know, those that have, they just continue to have. Those that don't, they're just like the last ones we think about.
Well, okay, my last question was really a personal question that really was not on my list. But I always wanted to know, like, this about teachers. Like, how do you guys do a lesson plan? Like, how do you guys know what you're going to talk about for the whole day? And then my second question would be, how the fuck do y'all talk that long? Y'all be talking for a whole day. And y'all be, and it ain't no, like, or nothing in
Y'all ever get
there. Y'all really be
exhausted?
just
Yes.
talking the whole
Oh,
day.
man.
So let me say
It's like a
this.
workout.
First of all, virtual learning, I am talking 24/7. In the classroom, I do not talk 24/7. I teach 6th grade, so my kids are supposed to be more student led, which is why I do 6th grade. Okay, I would
Yeah.
never do the babies because I love them, but I
You said
can't
that
talk
too,
24/7,
Yeah.
and I can't have this high energy all day, every day. Like I can't do that. It's not me. So, virtual though, you talk all day because the kids are not even sitting at the computer half the time. They logging in and walking away. So you kind of talk it to yourself. But in person, my kids are doing a lot of the talking. I'm doing like a 35-minute lesson, and then we're discussing. And then they're doing work. We're doing work together. I'm making y'all answer. I'm the type of teacher who I ask a question, y'all don't answer, I'll sit there and wait. Now we just all staring at each other. And so, I don't feel like the talking is 24/7, depending on what grades you teach. The lesson planning, though,
Yeah,
Jesus.
how do y'all do that every day?
It takes
Trash.
hours.
That's crazy.
Lesson planning takes hours. Our lesson plans are due on Wednesdays for the next week.
Oh, so
so
you have to turn them in.
You have to turn them in. Your administrator looks over them and everything. And you have to have them done Wednesday for the next week. So you spending Tuesday night, Monday night, whatever. Definitely a few hours because you're planning for a whole week. So planning for a whole week takes hours. But pretty much they just give you standards and you have to kind of match those standards up with how you're going to teach it, what activities you're going to do. And it just kind of goes from there. It's a hard process to
It
explain.
sounds really difficult to me.
You definitely have to be, somebody has to show you how to do it. They got to teach you how to do it almost, or you don't really know how to do it. And I was thrown into it, so I had to figure it out myself. But it's a It's
I don't even know what
I
to
mean,
say.
like I
It's
said,
like-
you did student teaching.
I was
and
thrown
she did not
into
do
it.
it, so
I'm
she
telling
did not
you,
know.
I was thrown into it when they said, okay, you got your permit. There you go, have fun. And I'm like, hold on, y'all know I haven't been to school yet,
Right.
or I don't know what I'm doing. They was like, no, you got it, figure it out, you be all right.
That's the answer I would have given. I mean, standards. I hate the standards. Every state has different standards, and it's not aligned. You get students from other states, and where they were in their state is different from where they're going to be here, and it's just really aggravating. But that's pretty much the basis of your lesson planning. Very student led. At least where I was for a few years, they wanted students to be in charge of their education. We wanted to teach them responsibility, and we had objectives every day, that you present to students, so that if anyone ever walked into the classroom, they were able to regurgitate that on spot and say, this is what we're learning today, mister, or ma'am, this is what we're doing today, and this is why we're doing it, this is why it's important. And they're even doing this at the kindergarten level, which I think is ridiculous. But it's got to be in there. It's going to show up in your evaluation. Especially for the roles that I was in the Spanish immersion program, you wanted to encourage students to learn from each other, right? So you were just kind of the person that was kind of overseeing the process, and you wanted to make sure that they knew that, and you reminded them of that constantly. And so it wasn't like a traditional classroom setting where kids are just sitting there in their desks and they're staring at the teacher lecture for an hour and a half, and then you move on. So it's changed. It's changed quite a bit.
They expect it to be student led more.
But I don't know. The process of lesson planning is just
student led though. We don't know what that means.
So what that means is the students are after you teach the lesson, the students are supposed to be able to lead the learning from there on.
Okay.
So you're supposed to be able to ask a question, just give out a discussion question, kind of like how we're doing now. And they're supposed to be able to go back and forth and discuss that without you having to lead the discussion.
Okay.
They're supposed to be able to lead it by the time they get to 6th grade.
right.
So I'm supposed to be able for 25, 30 minutes. I'm showing you how to do it. This is the process. This is the lesson. Okay, now here's the guided questions. And they do the work. Guided reading and math groups are not necessary, but you have to do them now. So you have to put them in groups where they can work on their own, and you're just kind of rotating, monitoring, answer questions.
Yeah.
If you are teaching all day and you're doing all the talking, they're literally telling you you're doing it wrong. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. So it's changed, from when we were even in school. They expect students to be more independent, but the problem is they don't really have the skills to be as independent as they think they should be.
Right.
So we are talking more than they say that we should be, but it's not the whole time.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm indifferent on it. I think I see what they're trying to do, but I also think it's important for us to be teachers, and we need to teach. And it's going to be different depending on the levels of your students, especially if they're in language learning. With my position, you have to be involved in that process as much as possible. And so I don't know.
Like the way that you guys are saying it is they're getting them ready for college, because that's exactly
Pretty
what they do in
much.
college.
Pretty
They
much,
teach us a lesson for 50 minutes,
Yep.
and then they leave us. We're gone.
But not
And then
everyone's
a
gonna
lot
go
of
to
times
college.
they've been really stressing in college more so than before, because we all went.
Right.
The importance of groups. At first we had groups, but it was when you first get there, you don't have groups like that. It's more so year
Once
3,
you're-
4.
Yep.
But now,
That's
you know what I'm
true.
saying? I feel like they starting off college a lot more, doing a lot more groups, a lot more group things and stuff like that. I know when I was in grad school, they was definitely doing a lot of groups. We started off in a group.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called. But we got our little group where we supposed to be with them till
Like
the
your
end.
cohort.
The cohort,
or-
yeah. We got our own little group of 5, 6 people that we with until the end.
Mhm.
But we do branch off and do our own things based off of what area that we want to go into.
Right.
But So I mean, I think that it sounds like they're trying to get them ready for that. But like Naya was saying, like they're not ready for that
They're not.
all the time. You
Here's
know what
the
I'm saying?
question I have too about it. It's like,
Yeah.
what do we do then if this is how they want us to do it, and we have kids of all different levels? Like,
Yeah.
like that's the issue that
to
I
me,
always
like
came
education
across.
is irritating to me a little bit in this country because they have the standardized testing and stuff like that, which is supposed to make sure everybody's on a specific level, but
No one
everybody's
is on the
not
same
on
level.
one
Oh my
level.
God.
Again,
Last
like,
year, I only
it's
taught.
not equal education.
No, and they're
Everybody's
not on the
everywhere.
right level because of the resources. Like
Mhm.
last year, I only taught ELA. I was an ELA teacher only, and I think
What is ELA?
English language arts. Sorry,
Okay.
so I didn't do math or
She's speaking
anything.
teacher.
Yeah.
Different
So used
language.
to it. I'm so
Gotta
used
be
to
coded.
it. ELA. So I was reading and writing. That's it. We were departmentalized because it's 6th grade. Y'all know that used to be middle school. So math class is one class. ELA, English language arts, is another class. I was only ELA. I had 32 kids last year. Out of my 32, I had 5 kids that were considered to be on the 6th grade level. 5 kids.
Boy.
I had 1 kid that was over a 6th grade level. Everybody else is under.
Yeah.
Most of them are at least 2 grades under. So they're 4th grade and under. I had 6th graders sitting in my room who you give them a test, and the test will tell you they're at a 1st grade reading level.
Mhm. Yeah.
Multiple.
Wow.
Multiple.
So what? So do you guys think for those kids that their parents should? Do you guys believe in the holding back thing?
Ooh-wee.
I'm going into a lot of stuff. I'm going farther than
Ooh,
I
I
don't know what
yeah.
to do.
Do you
I
guys
mean,
believe in that where parents hold their kids back? Do you guys think that's
Yeah, I
a good
think it
thing
would
to do?
help.
Can I be honest?
Yes.
I don't know because that's a different perspective as a teacher. That's a parent perspective.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And I don't know how I would feel as a parent. I try to put myself in those shoes, but because I'm not a parent, I don't like.
But I'm saying,
assume.
like, if you have a kid, like you said, you got a kid in your class that's 2 levels behind. Do you think that their parents should have kept them behind if they weren't ready yet, or are you gonna have to do what it takes to get them there? Like, I know that's a lot.
Or do you think it would even matter
That's what I
because
was
the
about to
results
say.
would be the
Okay.
same?
That's what I was about to say. So
That's probably true then.
I think you host most of these kids back, they still gonna come out on the same level. I think I just think it's not always the kids' fault. Some of the kids, yes, they don't come to school with any intention on learning. Some of the kids learn in different ways, and whoever it is or whatever the resources are does not cater to their learning style. And so you put them in that class again, or that grade again, or that same learning style again, and they're still not going to retain the information. They're going to come out at that same level. It's not going to matter. So I don't know. It's so hard. I think it's a problem from kindergarten through 6th. It's just no way I should got a kid in 6th grade who's still at 1st, because that's 5 grades. What was everybody else doing?
Right.
Exactly.
And that's how I feel because I'm at the top of elementary school. I'd be like, what
What
are
was y'all
all these
doing?
other people doing?
Paying no attention to them.
No.
But it's hard for me to go back and reteach because they 5 grades behind.
Yeah.
And I got 30 other kids.
And it's
Yeah.
like they set these crazy expectations for you to like fix it, and it's like, how
How?
do you do that?
Yeah, how?
I had the same situation where I had a student reading at a 1st grade level, and he was in 8th grade. Again, this was the school that I quit, and the administrator came in and was just like, what are you doing? Like, this is your fault. You need to fix it. Like, no, sir. That is not my fault. I had nothing to do with that, but you think, oh, I'm just going to fix it
I'm
overnight.
supposed to make up 7 grades.
Exactly. Like, oh, and then I'm making excuses for myself as an educator. No, I'm a realist. I'm being real about the situation, and it's like, what can I do? I can't save every child. It's ridiculous. It's unrealistic expectations. This is, again, it's something that stems back from way, back, and you don't have control over that.
True.
You just don't.
All right.
No.
So my last question for you guys is, what is the difference between a bad teacher and a good teacher? Like, what would you guys consider a bad teacher? What would you guys consider a great teacher? I think that parents be thinking like the teachers that be bringing treats in the class and having pizza parties, and that's a good teacher. It's not necessarily true. Like, that doesn't mean your kid is learning something just because they're doing that.
this doesn't sound cliche, but
Go ahead.
doing what is best for kids.
Yeah,
You
that's
have
what
to
I
meet them where they are. And so sometimes that may mean that you're going to go against the wishes of your administration. You just need to have a really good excuse, right? Because they're going to figure out what you're doing in your classroom, and they're going to ask questions about, well, why did you do your lesson plan this way? And you just, I say, present data, right? Present data. Data is the best way to basically cover your ass.
Yeah.
Show that it's working. Show that whatever your method is in the classroom, even if it's teacher led and that's not what they want, present them the data. Show the grades, show the numbers, and say it's working, and track it. And if you have a good argument and it proves, and if it shows that your students are progressing, then your administration really shouldn't have anything to say about that. And if it shows negatively on your evaluation, then that's just not the place for you. Do what's best for kids.
Yeah, that's definitely what makes a good teacher a good teacher. You do what's best for your class, like, period. And I feel like that differs among classes, among years, of course. But when you do what's best for your kids and your class, then you're a good teacher. If you're just doing what you're being told to do, or you're only just kind of doing what you got to do to get by, then you're not necessarily a good teacher, because that's not what the kids need. I've definitely done things where I necessarily wasn't supposed to do it, but it's what helped my kids. And like she said, data is the thing where I can show you, okay, but do you see these test scores? So what can you really say?
Right.
Because my kids went from here to here. So I don't care what you talking about. Ain't this what you wanted? Like, you want them to go up, right? And that's what they did.
That's how you get your funding.
And so,
Exactly.
So are we really going to keep going with this meeting, or are we just going to let me go and keep doing what I'm doing?
Do you want your money?
Right.
Yeah. And so that's what a good teacher does. They do what's best for their kids, period.
Yeah. I think, like, when you guys said the data, like, in my job too, like, when I'm working right now, but when I do, like, when I'm in IT, in order for me to, I'm always in a position where I have to talk to the IT people and I have to talk to the business. And a lot of times the IT people, they got stuff that they want to fix, but the shit is expensive. You know what I'm saying? And so the business is like, we can't afford it. But I'm like, well, shit, if you do this, then these are the data to support, you're going to make more money in the end. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you guys said that, and that's something in teaching too, is really interesting.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense. Like, if my kids are doing better, if I'm doing this, then y'all should be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm good.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, and I don't, and like I said, I was looking into doing daycare and stuff like that. They have, like, all these statistics and these tests and all this to show that, oh, this is what, if you do this is what kids will do. But kids are not all in the same, you know what I'm saying, spectrum. This is a majority of kids. The statistics show a majority. This is what, when you do this for the majority, this is what happens. Unless, who's the majority? Yeah. Not us.
Not us. You know what I'm teaching? These kids were not included this wasn't in those statistics.
We're not
My
majority.
babies wasn't in that statistics.
I swear to God they wasn't.
So I'm gonna do what's best for them, and y'all can keep y'all statistics over there for them kids.
Oh, boy.
I'm trying to tell you. So yeah, but I just want to thank you both for being on this mini cast. I feel like this was very, very
this was
very
great.
informative.
I loved it. I loved
very
it.
informative. Like, I swear, like, it's a lot of things that I feel like there's not a lot of people who interview teachers, and I don't get it, because I feel like teachers are the reason that people are successful. Like, how can you learn to not talk over people and debate and have your own analysis of something if you don't have a teacher? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
Without teachers, we wouldn't know nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. We learn more
Like,
than
kids
just
don't learn
subjects,
not to,
you know, life skills in general. Is what we
Kids
learn.
do not, they don't know how to communicate until they get into a classroom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At home, we cussing each other out. We talking over each other. It's not professional. But at school, like, that's where you have to get
you learn
that.
how to do that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you have to learn how to be around other people, and, you know what I'm saying, develop your personality. And it's a lot of things that go into being a teacher. And I feel like it's crazy that people don't respect teachers like they should. I do, but because, you know, I'm really into education for real. But I feel like people just don't understand, like, what teachers go through. And I'm glad that you guys are here and you guys, you know, shed some light on that.
Rock out with the
as
cast.
women. Really, it was great.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thanks for having us. It was great.
No
Thank you,
problem.
thank
So,
you.
I loved it.
you know how it is, y'all. Just like, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? Share, like, you know what I'm saying? If you really enjoyed this, let us know. And I hope, honestly, my thing was for doing this, especially with these two people, is because I really wanted you guys as parents to understand how to help your kids and what do teachers really have to do. You know what I'm saying? I think you guys think that they don't do a lot, and they do a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? I want you guys to understand that. So hopefully that's what they got this podcast.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Thank you. We'll see you guys next week with a new cast.